Hello everyone to this tutorial about data modeling. So what is data modeling? Data modeling is the process of creating a visual representation of information system to depict business entities and relationships between them. So as you understand from this definition, we are using a tool to create a visual representation of the information system that we have. After that, we are going to use this visual representation to create a real database, and we are going to see how to do that in the next tutorials. So we can say data modeling is a technique to document a software system using entity relationship diagrams, or as we call it, ERD or ER diagram. So what is entity relationship diagram? An entity relationship diagram is a type of flowchart that illustrates how entities relate to each other within a system. And as we said, an ER diagram can be easily transformed into relational schema or database. And there are three components in ERD. First one, entities. Second one, attributes. And third one, relationships. Let's start with entities. Let's see how entities are depicted in ERDs. An entity can be represented as this rectangle. Here we type the name of the entity, and you might ask yourself, what is entities? Let's have some examples of entities. An entity could be a student, or a course, a university, or an order. So these are examples for entities that can be depicted in our business scenario. And each entity will be transformed to a table. So entity in ERD will be ultimately converted to a table in the database. And a specific example of an entity is called an instance. Each instance becomes a record or a row in a table. So for example, in this table, each record is an instance of this entity or this table. So the first record here is an instance. The second record is another instance, and so on. And the second component of ERD is attributes. And attributes are facts or descriptions of entities. They are also often nouns and become the columns of the table. So for example, in this customer entity, name, address, gender, and date of birth are attributes. So these are the attributes that will be converted ultimately to be columns or fields in a table in a database. And the third part of ERDs is relationships. So relationships are the associations between entities. And relationships can be depicted as lines that connect or link two entities. And these relationships are different. So we have different types of relationships between entities. The relationship could be 0 to 1, 0 or more, exactly 1, 1 or more, and so on. It depends on the business scenario. And we call these different types of relationships, we call them cardinality. In an ER diagram, cardinality is represented as crow's foot at the connector's end. So at the connector's end, the right side, we can see a crow's foot that represents the relationship. And we are going to understand these relationships in the coming examples. First, we have an example for one-to-one relationship. And a good example for that is the relationship between a husband and wife. Each husband has only one wife, and each wife has one husband. We don't see here the crow's foot. The second type here of relationship is one-to-many. And in this example, you can see here a department and on the other side an employee entity. One department may or might have one or many employees working in that department. So that's why in this side you can see this crow's foot. However, on the other side, an employee belongs only to one department. That's why we'll see he one on this side. We'll see this line, this dash. That means it's one. So this is an example of one-to-many relationship. The third example here is for many-to-many relationship. And a good example for that is the relationship between student entity with the course entity. One student takes many courses or several courses in the university, and at the same time the same course are taken by several students in the school or the university. However, you may ask about this circle. What is the meaning of this circle? You will understand why sometimes we are using a circle with the crow's foot, and sometimes we are using a line, and sometimes we are using two lines. So this is an example of customer and order. What is the relationship between a customer and order? One customer may have many orders, or one order, or no order at all. So if you look at the side that connects customer to order, you can see crow's foot. Crow's foot means many, and the circle means none or no order. So circle with this crow's foot means this customer might have zero order, one order, or many orders.